Hey guys, it's been a while since we covered some watch news on the channel, and recently we saw the releases of the new Ming, the Messina Lab Ming 1709, and the Kurono Tokyo. So let's begin with the Ming, and then we'll head on to the Kurono. So, the Ming X Massena. The first collaboration Ming has done was with Messina Lab, and they produced a variant of the 1709, which was earlier launched this year by Ming, with the blue dial and the burgundy dial, which are no longer produced like all Ming watches. So this variant, 200 pieces only. All Ming watches are very limited, but 200 is so much more limited. And there's 150 of the black variant and 50 of the honey. So that's the one that everyone's gunning for. But onto the specifications of the watch. So this is a 1709, so 38mm case diameter and 44 from lug to lug, and this has got the Sellita 330 movement, but it has been modified as Ming got Sellita to have an independent movement of the hour hand, so that acts as a GMT complication without the second time zone. So the watch essentially has the same spec as the 1709, same internals and same dimensions, but the specialty is in the limitedness and of course the honeycomb structure on the dial. So this pattern makes the dial look fantastic, and the case back as well has this etched onto it, and it says 1 of 200, but it doesn't actually give you the number of the watch, so that's not that special. But then again, this pattern is exclusive to the Messina collaboration, and so I believe that Messina did come up with this, I'm assuming, and it's fantastic on the black and honey variant, but the honey is something ever so much more special. Now these two retailed at, well, the black one is $2,595 and the honey one is $2,795, so 200 more for a more limited watch. Well, did it actually cost them more to make? I guess not, but it's a bit more limited, so there's that. Now, very few of these watches are being sold in the first place, and even fewer are actually going to make it onto the grey market for extraordinary prices, I'm willing to bet. So the hype on this release was so insane that there was so much difficulty on Messena's behalf in order to sell this watch. So typically Ming launches their watches through their own website, and every time there's been a launch, as of recent years, it's been a massive frenzy in order to acquire a piece. They sell out very instantly within the same minute if there's no specific order window like the 10-minute window they had on the third round for the 1709 blue and burgundy watches. I'm assuming Messina did not really prepare for this insane amount of hype because it's probably quite unprecedented for them as well. And so what happened was the watch is supposed to launch on Thursday at 10:30 a.m. New York time, but the site went down because of too many requests, I'm assuming, and then they postponed it by exactly a day, so 10:30 a.m. on Friday. But then again, the site crashed because of DDoS attacks, so that's a distributed denial of service error. So it's essentially when there's multiple requests from many different locations and that overwhelms the server, and you can't shut down or isolate the requests because they're not from one source. Messina did say that this was malicious, but that could be the case. But I also think it could be just the vast quantity of people wanting to get their hands on this piece, especially knowing Ming and how limited their watches are. So naturally, in order to sort this, they came upon a lottery system where you send them an email and then they pick 200 out of those emails to offer the watch to people. I think this is a very fair approach, especially because it doesn't rely on the speed of your internet connection or other smaller factors that you can't really have control over. All of this is so very intriguing because it's so unconventional to see watches being sold out and released in such a manner. Typically in the old days, you'd have people camping outside stores for very limited edition products, and I'm happy that all of this is through the internet and everyone can just sit at home, relax, and get these pieces. I'm super interested to see how this actually pans out for the Ming. Now let's get on to Kurono Tokyo. That release went a lot more smoothly. So let's talk about the watch first. So this is the Kurono Tokyo Toki, the second year anniversary edition for the brand. Now Toki is used to draw a reference to the bird Tokiro found in Japan, which is where this color of the dial comes from. So this is not a salmon dial, and Hajime is very particular about that because that's sort of a Western representation of the color, but it's slightly different. It's based on the Tokiro color, and so this is, well, let's call it a pink. Now this watch is a smaller piece at 37mm, but it's very integrated with Hajime's design philosophy and principle, so it's not just a small watch for the sake of being small. Personally, of course, I would have liked it if it had been 39 or maybe 40mm, but this is his creation, so let's look at it that way. Now the movement powering this watch is its only weak point on paper. So it's a Miyota 90S5, and typically Miyota movements don't get the highest praise from watch collectors, but there was a decision between the ETA 2824 and the Miyota, and Miyota movements are made in Japan, so that fits in a lot better with the design philosophy behind this watch. Now in terms of actual superiority between the Miyota and the 2824, I don't really think there is much difference. The Miyota does have a lower accuracy stated, but I believe that if you regulate both, you can achieve the same sort of accuracy. The Miyota is actually thinner at 3.9 millimeters, so that worked in better with this case design overall being 7 millimeters thick, which is extremely thin for a watch. So I understand why they use the Miyota. So this piece was launched pretty effortlessly in comparison to the Ming. It retailed at $1,738 US, so at a lower price bracket, of course. And the launch was quite similar to that of the 10-minute slot of the 1709 Burgundy and Blue launch for Ming earlier this year in April. So that went pretty smoothly. I'm aware of this because a friend of mine has ordered the piece and got the allocation, so I was watching the whole process go through, and it was quite smooth. It worked out within that 10-minute slot. I do believe that both Ming and Kurono really deserve a lot of appreciation for how they've managed to interact with the customers and put the customers first. Well, when I say customers, I mean watch enthusiasts. So it's all centered around the enthusiasts, and that's what makes these independent watch brands so exciting. So yeah, perhaps we'll see the Kurono Tokyo sometime in the future on the channel. We may get hands on it, so stay subscribed. Thanks for watching. That was the update on the new releases. What do you think about this new way of watches being sold? Do you prefer the in-store experience? I know that tactility cannot be replaced by anything else. So let me know what you think in the comments below. And stay tuned for the next video, which is on the Rolex Sea Dweller Deep Sea 116660.